So when the good things happen, you say Alhamdulillah, thank you Allah, and you allow it to come in. Don't question it. That just gets little brain stuff going. That's unnecessary. It's more like thank you, and how do I? You show your gratitude by paying it forward. In other words, don't keep it to yourself. Reach out. How can you serve? How can you do something for others? How can you be of good service to the community, to your wife, to Allah? I mean, to me, that's the that's the whole purpose, is to open the heart and be with the heart as much as possible. So, Alhamdulillah, thank you. You show, Shukran Allah, and maybe even do zikr to help nurture it. It's kind of like having a kindling, and then you want to make that burn more, get that heat going. So, now, if it helps you, excuse me a second. Ah, no, no. Sorry, I sent a note out the other day about shipping and everything, and it's kind of like now all these companies are calling me. You want to increase it? You want to, if all right, if it helps to go back and go, what am I doing right? Or, you know,
Yeah, well, that was the question
yeah, of
that I kept
course.
asking. So,
So, so sometimes it's just, I think of it, the word that comes to mind is yearning. When the heart goes, all I want is Allah. Just, I want Allah. And eventually that pays off. Allah comes back and says, okay, it seems like you're sincere about this. Let's move this forward. Let's keep that going. And what that does too, that yearning, wanting to be with Allah, is the juice that makes everything worthwhile. So to me, the heart is the most precious of all things in the universe with this system here. So anything that helps bring that alive is something to study. And at the same time, enjoy. And if you can, find a way to share it. Sometimes the sharing, this is between you and Allah. That's the sir al-sir. The secret of secrets is the connection between you and Allah. So when that's happening, that's like, yes, more, please.
shukran. Thank, Sheikh.
Does that connect with anything for you, Alameen?
Um, yes, Shad. Yeah. Just sort of listening to Rob's experience and you talking. It's just what's coming up for me, other than personal experiences, the game, which is talked about in Sufi terms of hide and seek. And the heart's, the moments in one's life where, the heart really just wants to be with Allah, and at times you just sort of feel like you're talking to yourself, knocking on the door and there's no one there, and then you have those experiences as both you and Rob have talked about it, and it's like, oh, yeah, it's grist for the mill, as they say.
Hafez says, we should make all spiritual talk simple today. God is trying to sell you something, but you don't want to buy. This is what your suffering is. Your fantastic haggling, your manic screaming over the price. All right, I got one more for you that I really like. Cast all your votes for dancing. I know the voice of depression still calls you. I know those habits that can ruin your life still send their invitations. But you are with the friend now and look so much stronger that you can stay that way and even bloom. Keep squeezing drops of the sun from your prayers and work and music and from your companion's beautiful laughter. Keep squeezing drops of the sun from the sacred hands and glance of your beloved, and, my dear, from the most insignificant movements of your own holy body. Learn to recognize the counterfeit coins that may buy you just a moment of pleasure, but then drug you for days like a broken man behind a farting camel. You are with the friend now. Learn what actions of yours delight him. What actions of yours bring freedom and love. Whenever you say God's name, dear pilgrim, my ears wish my head was missing, so they could finally kiss each other and applaud all your nourishing wisdom. Oh, keep squeezing drops of the sun from your prayers and work and music and from your companion's beautiful laughter and from the most insignificant movements of your own holy body. Now, sweet one, be wise. Cast all your votes for dancing. So that kind of says what we were just talking about. Now, I have this article called You, Not You, and I was wondering if you'd like me to read it.
Sure.
Okay. Whatever your disability, illness, or disease, it is not you. You feel it impedes, disrupts, or minimizes your choices and actions. You might even feel a victim or ask, why me? From a Sufi point of reference, these physical or mental obstacles are very much the same as nafs. They are there because this is your lesson and is intended to instruct you if you wish. Each of us has been offered a problem. How we solve it defines us. Does that make sense?
Yep.
James Earl Jones, for example, that's the voice of Darth Vader. He confronted his fear of stuttering by going on stage to become an actor. He met his fear with courage and focus. The first lesson we might understand is that whatever the problem, it isn't always our fault. It's something pre-provided. Even if you initiated the problem, there's still the need to discover the best way to deal with it. And one aspect is to see that it is about looking at our primary fear. In many ways, fear is always the master. We are slaves to our own monsters and eventually we have to choose to eventually deal with it. One definition of nafs is that it is whatever you identify with. If you identify as having ADHD, autism, or a wonky heart, you've created a very tiny, limited world to exist in. Now, by identify, I mean you might often say, I'm autistic, I have problems, I have a bad heart, or I have this kind of trauma, I have PTSD. You're so much more than that. Now, as unpleasant as these experiences are, these illnesses could be seen as a training ground to help you become your true self. It doesn't have to be medically diagnosed to be considered an illness. We all carry wounds and traumas from family, teachers. Even the pandemic caused, besides many deaths, also severe damage psychologically that is yet to be dealt with and recognized. So we all face our demons in different ways. One way is to learn to live with it. And that can either be a good or a bad thing. My angina, diabetes, high blood pressure, smashed vertebrae, debilitating kidney dysfunction, all that's not fun. It is painful for me to walk. I haven't slept all night for like 20 years, and any physical activity is painful, especially walking. That, and the doctor said my brain is shrinking because I seem to be getting older. Therefore, my brain's purging memories, and that makes me think with this Swiss hole, lots of holes that I can't remember stuff. But I have found certain ways to forget about the nagging torture through recording and composing, writing and reading. It doesn't mean it isn't always there, but I have respites of normalcy that make life bearable. Now, the bad thing that can happen is to become habituated to the pain. When you refuse the cure because it will require changing something about yourself, that's a bigger problem than the original one. You already know that in this world there is only change. Nothing's permanent, everything's temporary. And when you do not make an effort to relieve the suffering, that's on you. Now, non-action in this case means that you're not an adult, you're not maturing, you're being stubborn. Change equals life. Non-change equals stagnation and death. All right, so if we whittle all this down to its essence, we find that there is a you and a not you. Your main responsibility is to take good care of yourself so that you can be of service to Allah and others. The not you is a selfish, greedy, paranoid egotist. You, your true self, is giving, kind, moderate, humorous, and flexible. When pain, disease, trauma, and illness manifest, we have many choices. We can ignore it, we can self-medicate, we can seek help, and there are also support groups, and as Sufis, we have many health services available. Plus, there's Dhikr, positivity prayers, and learning how to get out of the way. Questions so far? I am not at all suggesting that any of this is easy. This is all very difficult. It takes everything just to put one foot in front of the other just to get through the day. Now, surrender in this specific case means accepting the problem and finding a way to help strengthen our connection to Allah. Assume that there is something that Allah has prepared for us specifically. that there's a purpose to the pain. And what is pain? Pain is a great trainer. It really focuses the mind quite brilliantly. Now, the knot you is a puppet of external forces impacting and crashing onto you all the time. These are all the things that your parents have said, what your friends like or dislike, what sewage is being pumped in from the internet, like conspiracy theories and half-truths, and the advertisements bombarding your senses, trying to get your hard-earned dollars. Everybody has problems. Some look tougher than ours, and sometimes ours looks huge compared to others. Therefore, it seems like it does not help to compare our hurts with others' pain. But I do know that when I put effort into helping another person with their problems, I forget about mine. The less I'm concerned about me and focus on others, I feel relief. I hate pain. Yet when it comes, it always has a message. It's usually something like, please stop, fix me. This is wrong. Now, it's odd that I can't hear them when I'm binging on ice cream, especially strawberry ice cream. I've got bad habits dealing with these problems, but I'm hopeful that I will learn not to buy a big container of something sweet again. I am still learning how to deal effectively and appropriately with these challenges. Like I say, everybody has their own monsters and demons. Sufism provides many tools to deal with the nasties. Sometimes it is asking for help or picking up the right tool for the right job. It's difficult to be grateful and open when you're experiencing any kind of hurt, whether it's emotional, physical, or spiritual. There are some exercises one can employ to shift the focus, maybe even distract you for a while, and forget about the pain. So I have 3 exercises. 1, seek beauty. Exercise number 1. This is where you can either approach this as a scavenger hunt or imagine you're a famous photographer capturing moments of life. So you can use your smartphone or an actual camera. You get yourself to a park or a street where there's lots of activity, and you look for scenes or settings that seem unusual, strange contrasts, vivid colors, action, something you find odd, interesting, iconic, or strange. So you imagine yourself on a hunt for the best images of light and shadow. You'll experience a radical shift in perception as you start to see the world in a kind of concentrated grouping of matter, of life, of joy, love, starkness, and metamorphosis. These photos will be notes or stories of a moment that transcended other moments because you took the time and effort to look for beauty rather than pain. Exercise 2. Last day. Imagine that this is your last day on Earth. You've got one last day to review and remind you of what you are leaving. The hours and minutes are diminishing, so you want to soak it all in, absorb it with all your senses. You might want to visit the ocean, the mountains, streams, desert, the city, the country. It's a pretty amazing place, this planet. Tomorrow, exercise 3. Do what you love. If you have been waiting to sail, paint, drum, write, let's not put it off anymore. If you have no idea what you enjoy, then it's time to experiment. So let's go exploring and seeing what would be fun. Maybe you have a slight inkling of something. Maybe it's not it exactly, but it could be a subgenre. For example, maybe you enjoy storytelling. Well, there are puppets, animation, visuals, stop action, film, video, audio, plays, theater, games, writing, reading. It really is infinite in possibilities. That would be true for many activities. So consider that you are the experiment, and what gives your heart joy is up to you to find. Perhaps your purpose here is to find that spark. Stop scrolling. Go finding. So, what do you think?
Yeah, it's sort of listening and reading that article. It's interesting how we identify with different facets of ourselves, whether it's illness or trauma or hardships, and thing that comes through with that is that we do have choice. Sometimes we feel like we've lumped with something, but we always have choice how to perceive something. And but I really like the exercise bits about the last day and finding something you enjoy. I think there's a lot of a lot to gain out of that process.
The thing is that even if you take care of all of that, the next day stuff's going to happen.
Mm.
And it's like trying to keep on top of it all, because the idea of identifying with something, it's habitual, and it's all around us. Just even your age, to identify as an age or a gender or a person in a community or as anything, though it helps to differentiate from everything else, it still locks you in to like a small chamber.
Mm.
And it's a tricky thing, because it's so easy to fall into the habit of going, well, I'm this. I'm a man, or I'm a husband, or I'm a cook. I'm a or you identify with your job. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's important to understand what you're doing when you do that. That you're much more than that. And as you look at it, when you identify with something, are you limiting yourself when you do that? Or does it help you move forward? That's why finding balance in all of this is really important. That, as you've become aware, there's all these paradoxes we're skating around in. Well, we're supposed to be connecting with Allah, and I have to pay these bills, and somebody's got to take the daughter somewhere, and we've got to, it's just a whole list of things that need to get done. And you go, who's responsible? I am. I'm the one that said I was going to do it. So you find yourself doing it. You're taking out the trash. I am the trash taker outer. This is my job. This is what I do. And that can very sneakily become you. And it's tricky to look at how you're looking at it, especially if you're doing something day after day. You go and I have to do this, and this is who I am, and the part of you that's connected to Allah is going, no, I'm not. But then, but this identification kind of drowns that out.
Mm.
But I've got to get this done at least by 3 o'clock. I've got to get it done. It's my responsibility. This is what I do. And all of this kind of stuff, it's such a play that, and without realizing it, it impacts the heart in all kinds of ways. And it takes a lot of effort just to disengage for a little while from that identity. So that might be what you're experiencing, Robert, is a disengagement from these identities that you've manufactured.
Okay, I'll reflect on that. And I mean, you ended it off with some exercises for dealing with pain, but it also stuck out to me when you were talking before about a sign of immaturity is avoiding the change that's coming, because that's a kind of a definition of being alive. And how do we deal with uh, conditions that we might find ourselves in, or that apply to us somehow, that may not necessarily even be our fault. Do we are proactive, or we just do the victim thing, or what?
Yeah,
So a lot of good stuff to think
that's
about.
right. It's, well, first of all, change is not comfortable. It means becoming uncomfortable or discomforted. And one way to look at it that might be helpful is to look at, that's what makes life work, is change. And that to get used to it, and when you come to that, I almost see it like a hump. It's like, do I want to do the hurdle and jump over this thing, or am I comfortable here? And thinking like, if I get too comfortable, I won't grow. Do I want to grow? And it's kind of like, this is going to sound silly, doing the dishes as soon as possible rather than waiting for all that old food to get nice and hard and sticky and become almost like concrete, and take a whole lot more effort to clean it than it would be just to wash it off immediately. Do we know what this is? Yes, we do. We understand. So it's kind of like that you go, it's just more efficient to take care of this now than to wait and let it build up. So it's kind of like, it does take effort, and it does take a kind of self-responsibility, self-cleaning kind of approach of going, wait a minute, I know what this is like. If I don't deal with this now, it's going to be harder if I wait a couple weeks to deal with this. So this is also part of your suluk and you learning you. And this is where the not you comes in, because the not you wants to be comfortable and not change. You, your true you, understands that things are always in motion. Everything is a frequency. Everything has to go make a motion for it to continue to survive. It doesn't mean it's wonderful. Sometimes it's unpleasant to unpack the latest identity. I'm a contractor. I'm a musician. I'm this. I'm that. I'm a programmer, a coder. To understand that's just a little tiny fraction of what you are. But it's kind of like nefs or identities can become like black holes. And if you get too close to the, what's it called, the singularity, it'll pull you in. And there's nothing you can do about it. Once you're that close, you have to go all the way through. Then you come out and you go, do I want to do that again? Maybe I need some kind of alarm to let me know I don't want to go through that again. It's just kind of an efficiency dealing with that with yourself. Like, as you're experiencing this, Robert, you're also going, boy, I don't want to go back to that stone in the heart feeling again. That's really unpleasant.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. So you find the things that help you. And this is also part of the suluk in the idea that you are an experiment so that you find out, well, what works for you. You can, you can shop around and see what other people do to deal with that. So what you look for is who has found a successful way to deal with this, and who has found a way that doesn't work. Because I don't want to do the thing that doesn't work. I want to find the thing that does work. So, you try out different methods of what works for you. Sometimes modeling your behavior on somebody that you respect or that you feel like has a good way of dealing with something. That's good. Or you come across somebody who absolutely does not do that. And you go, okay, I shouldn't be like that because that doesn't work. Because that person's an asshole and I don't want to be an asshole. So how that works for you is, your design. And how you work with these things is also one of the many things that defines you or us. Who we are is how we deal with these problems. And one good question to ask yourself is, am I doing my best? Is this as good as I can do? Or is there a better way to follow this? And one of the things that helps is asking for help. First from Allah, and then anything that connects up with that. So remember, there's three ways of knowing. There's ilm al-yaqeen, which is secondhand information like from books, lectures, YouTube, documentaries, research. Ayn al-yaqeen, which is observing with your own perceptions, seeing it for yourself, and haq al-yaqeen, which is observing through your heart knowledge. So we have these tools available to us. And along with that is the balancing of the inner and the outer. So that if you learn something from the outside, you find if you also get an inner confirmation. Just reminding you of these tools that we have available. So, anything Thing you want to add?
Not this one.
Or ask? Okay. All good?
For now, Sheikh.
Okay. All right then. Well, let me know if you guys want to chat another time privately, and I'll let you be on your way. A'udhu billahi minash shaitani rajim. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen ar-Rahman ar-Rahim Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina sirata mustaqim. Sirata ladzina an'amta alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim wala dallin. Ameen. Ooh.
Shukran, Sheikh.
Shukran. Assalamu
Shukran.
alaikum.
Shukran.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum, Marids, seekers, curious, and interested listeners. We appreciate you and are happy to share our Sufi message. Your donation will help support our Sufi Center in Sydney, where we do Dhikr, Sohbat, spiritual counseling, and healing services. We believe the message should be free, but it costs equipment, rental, services, software, and hardware to get this to you. So thank you for choosing our podcast among all the millions available. If you go to our website, AnsariSufiOrder.org, you will be able to donate through PayPal whatever you think this information is worth to you. Blessings and love, the Australian Ansari Sufi Order.